Conspiracy theories are by no means a new thing. Throughout history, some people have developed a paranoid and distrustful nature for various reasons. They're either suspicious of the powers that be, or believe that something is being hidden from them, resulting in some wild theories being suggested. While some of these cases have proven to be true, most have no basis in reality, and yet conspiracy theories are as prevalent as they've ever been. Number 10. Antarctica has been the site of many mysteries that remain unsolved over the years, and a discovery that was made there in 2024 has only bolstered the area's reputation for being strange. The discovery was made by a Reddit user who was using Google Maps to look at a certain area in the Antarctic. After stumbling across something truly unusual, he posted the area's coordinates to the platform. When fellow Redditors followed these coordinates, they immediately knew why the original poster was so excited by what they had found. In the snowy landscape, they saw something that looked like a doorway, and almost immediately, speculation ran rife. Since the entrance is situated on the side of a mountain, some users suggested that it leads further into the mountain, and that it might be the entrance to a secret military base that was being hidden from the public, but which had somehow become exposed. The nearest human presence to this site is the Japanese Showa Research Outpost Station on East Ungle Island in Queen Maud Land. Here, scientists conduct research on astronomy, meteorology, earth sciences, and biology. While most users joked about the doorway, suggesting it might be the entrance to Bigfoot's underground cave, others took the matter more seriously. Some suggested it might be the long-rumored Antarctic bunker that was said to have been built by the orders of Adolf Hitler during the Second World War. Then there were the inevitable suggestions that it might be a facility that was built by extraterrestrials, and that it's used by these beings whenever they visit our planet. According to some conspiracy theorists, the alien base has existed in Antarctica for centuries and is still being used today for reasons unknown. Luckily, several experts stepped in to explain what they were looking at in the image. While the structure might look like a doorway to an underground area, most experts believe that it's a natural formation and that it only looks like a doorway by coincidence. One glaciologist explained that the area is covered in fast-moving ice, and that the so-called doorway is actually part of a glacier that ran aground in the shadows and then started to melt. The eerie blue color of the formation is thanks to the ice that's concealed beneath the snow, which has now been exposed to reveal the beautiful color. If true, as time passes, this doorway is sure to become smaller and smaller, and hopefully it will put their concerns to rest. Number 9. When archaeologists find an artifact that contains some kind of writing or symbols, it results in many theories being put forward to explain what the symbols might mean. And in many cases, the suggestions border on the absurd. The Judakala rock is no exception. It's believed that Westerners first saw the rock sometime in the 19th century, when a researcher named James Mooney traveled into the mountains of Jackson County in North Carolina to study Cherokee legends, and the rock was shown to him. He wrote that the entire rock is covered in petroglyphs, and that he was told by the Cherokee that the site where the stone lies is considered sacred. They often held ceremonies in the area, and also had a few strange tales to tell. The name of the rock, Judakala, refers to one legend that is spoken about by the Cherokee. It's the name of a giant that used to live in the area, according to folklore, and he used the stone to mark its territory. It's said that Judakala used to live in these mountains and that he protected his home fiercely. He's described as having slanted eyes and 7 fingers on each hand. The rock contains symbols that look like 7-digit claws, which are said to be his actual handprints, and a line that's drawn on the rock is said to be the boundary that no one was allowed to cross, since doing so meant that they'd crossed into Judakala's territory, where he used to hunt. Mooney also learned that the name Judakala means he has them slanting, or slant-eyed giant. Not only was Judakala massive, but he also had some other very strange abilities that have never been explained. Tradition holds that he was able to teleport from the top of the mountain to the tops of any other mountain in the region in the blink of an eye, He was also able to fly through the air and could control the weather, including bringing lightning and thunder whenever he felt like it. But he was able to speak to the people living in the area at the time, and was known to, on occasion, relocate them to the spirit realm, which suggests he was a deity of some kind, with powers beyond our comprehension. Researchers who have studied the stone state that it has a curvilinear shape and that it's carved out of sandstone. They were able to count more than 1,500 individual petroglyphs across its surface. These symbols include stick figures meant to represent the human form, and 2 7-fingered handprints, and thousands of other carvings, including cup marks. It's believed that the rock is very old, dating back to between 2000 and 3000 BC, as is evidenced by tools found in the surrounding area. For now, the stone remains as mysterious as ever, and only time will tell if we ever learn its true purpose before the symbols completely disappear. Number 8. When it comes to inexplicable events that have taken place throughout history, the Bermuda Triangle remains one of the most mysterious places on Earth, despite many of the strange cases that have occurred there having now been explained. For many years, planes, ships, and individuals have suddenly disappeared without a trace in the Bermuda Triangle, and many of these occurrences are yet to be explained. It's been suggested that extraterrestrials were to blame, since they were abducting humans for reasons unknown, or that the area contained strange magnetic fields that caused people and mechanical equipment to become confused, leading to them becoming lost, never to be seen again. Some people even suggested that this was the site of the fabled city of Atlantis, and that it still lies at the bottom of the ocean, wreaking all kinds of havoc in the sky and on the water above. But in 2012, reports started to emerge that something very strange was found in the water in the triangle, and it took no time at all for the conspiracy theories to rear their heads. In several notable news publications, it was claimed that a scientist named Dr. Meyer Verlag was conducting research in the area when she discovered a pyramid 3 times the size of the Giza pyramid in Egypt beneath the water, and that it was constructed out of a type of crystal. It was further reported that Verlag believed the pyramid was responsible for the strange disappearances that have taken place in that area, and that it warranted years of scientific study. Furthermore, it was said that she then presented her findings in attendance at a press conference that was held in the Bahamas, and she was then able to provide the location of the pyramid thanks to exact coordinates. As soon as these reports were published, people who were interested in the Bermuda Triangle started suggesting theories as to what the pyramid was and who had created it. Since it was said to be constructed from crystal, many people believed that it held strange mystic powers that could heal the sick, or that it would reveal the paranormal realm. There were, of course, claims that it was an extraterrestrial structure that we were never meant to find. Some people suggested it may just be a normal pyramid that was built by an ancient civilization that used to live in the area before it was covered with water. Some articles claimed that the scientific community around the world was shaken to its core by the discovery, but the truth is far more mundane. No evidence has ever been found that Dr. Verlag even exists, or that such a pyramid was ever found in the ocean. Number 7. In 2017, a toy called a Fidget Spinner took the world by storm. The simple device was meant to be used as a stress reliever, and in no time, millions of people were rushing out to stores to purchase them, and it quickly became a global fad. For the uninitiated, fidget spinners are usually constructed from metal, and they contain 3 or more outer rings that spin around a central ring, which is held in between 2 fingers on a person's hand, usually the thumb and the middle finger. When the toy is spun, the outer rings spin between the palm of the hand and the fingers holding onto it, and many people tried to get it to spin for as long as possible, and then compared theirs to those owned by their friends. It was all meant to be a little bit of fun, while also providing the user with the relaxing fidget toy that claimed to improve concentration. But not everyone saw it for the lighthearted product that it was. It quickly started irritating some people since they were on sale everywhere, and they were, on occasion, being used in inappropriate locations, such as churches or restaurants. But while some people considered it a minor inconvenience, one pastor saw it as far more of a threat. Pastor Juan Mariano Avalos, who hails from Paraguay, created a video in which he claimed that fidget spinners were the work of the devil, and that the real aim of the toy was to convert as many children and teenagers to Satanism as possible. This may seem absurd to most people, but he went on to explain how he drew this conclusion. He pointed to the way in which the spinner is meant to be held. Since the thumb and middle finger are used to hold the device, the pinky, index, and ring fingers are usually extended outwards. Avalos believes that, viewed from the right angle, this caused the hand to look like it's signaling 3 sixes, which is noted in the Bible as being the number of the beast. But his evidence didn't end there. He added that if the user's ring finger is placed on the palm rather than extended, the result is the sign of the devil, which is usually seen during rock and heavy metal concerts, and which was popularized by the famous heavy metal vocalist Ronnie James Dio. While Avalos was very serious about these claims, it quickly drew the ire of thousands of people online, who took to social media platforms to make fun of the footage. They asked whether the hand gesture for OK is also evil, since it also results in the hand forming the 666 symbol. Luckily, cooler heads prevailed, and most people took little notice of the video, shrugging it off as an unnecessary conspiracy theory that could do more harm than good, and the fidget spinner craze continued unabated for quite some time. Number 6. In August of 2023, wildfires broke out on the island of Maui in Hawaii, and it was recorded as the deadliest natural disaster that Hawaii has ever seen. The blaze caused about $5.5 billion worth of damage, destroyed more than 2,000 different structures, and claimed over 100 lives while leaving thousands of people destitute. 3 of the fires that broke out would not have been as devastating as they were, but they were fueled by Hurricane Dora, a Category 4 storm that generated massive wind speeds that only helped spread the flames. The first of the fires broke out in the early morning hours of the 8th of August that year, and thanks to dry conditions on the island, started to spread at an alarming rate. A red flag alert was issued. It would later be determined that the first fire was started by broken power lines that ignited dry grass and plants around a utility pole. And before long, thousands of lives were in danger as the strong winds spread the fire to different parts of the island. Houses were destroyed in mere minutes. Cars had to be left where they were by fleeing residents, and those who made it to safety had to find shelter quickly. More than 27,000 people were in need of aid once the flames were doused, and luckily people from all over the world responded to their plight with donations that took several forms, such as money, food, and clothing. The island's residents were then left with the unenviable task of rebuilding their lives and homes, which would take some time. But while all of this was happening, some people took to the internet to reveal their conspiracy theories as to what caused the blaze, despite an official investigation already having been carried out. Many people started posting to social media sites, claiming that the fire wasn't a natural disaster, and that the report, stating that it was caused by downed power lines, was false. Instead, they believed it was caused by something far more sinister. One of the prevailing theories was that the blaze was intentionally set with the use of direct energy weapons. One video showed a massive explosion taking place on the island in the minutes before the fire started, and it quickly racked up millions of views. But it would later be revealed that the footage originated from Chile, and it showed a transformer exploding. In another clip, Waiola'a Church was shown being struck by a laser beam before it burst into flames, but it was quickly debunked when it was found to have been digitally altered. Other pieces of footage were found to show controlled fires in other parts of the world, including Ohio, and the launch of a SpaceX rocket that was completed in California in 2018. Some people claimed that the fire was suspicious since buildings and vehicles were gutted while many trees remained upright. This was easy to explain since large trees take a long time to burn, and in many instances, the fires only affected the bark and outer layers of the trees. Theories that the fires were started by the wealthy residents of the island in an effort to obtain more land were also dismissed. But to this day, some conspiracy theorists still believe that someone in power orchestrated the fires, despite no proof of this ever being found. Number 5. During wartime, opposing forces will often try to spread misinformation in enemy territory in an effort to turn their own people against their government. It's a tactic that's been used throughout history, and while it isn't always effective, it has, on occasion, had an impact on the outcome of a war. But there is another alarming trend that has come to light amid the war that's being fought in Ukraine. Many conspiracy theorists have started spreading misinformation about the conflict, resulting in some truly bizarre claims, one of which is that the war isn't actually even real. One of the most viewed videos, as far as conspiracy is concerned, was uploaded to the internet just weeks after the war started. It shows a man in a military uniform having what looks like biological material applied to his face. The person who posted the video claimed that this man was a crisis actor who was paid to participate in the fake war, and that the footage was proof that they were all being deceived into thinking that a war was being fought. But it was then discovered that the footage was actually from the set of a Ukrainian TV series called Contamin. The man shown on screen was indeed an actor, but he had no part to play in the real war, and the video's poster was exposed as a conspiracy theorist. In a similar incident, footage shows dozens of body bags lying on the ground, and at one point something inside one of the bags starts to move. The man inside the bag then unzips it, and a photographer rushes over to assist him. This convinced many people that he was paid to pretend that he'd lost his life in the war. But this again was quickly debunked. The footage was taken during a climate change protest that took place in Vienna much earlier. The people seen in the clip are from the Friday for Future climate change movement. Strangely, the very same clip was used by conspiracy theorists earlier, claiming that the people in the bags were crisis actors who were pretending they lost their lives due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Then there was a clip shown during a Fox News broadcast in which two Ukrainian soldiers could be seen carrying firearms, but many viewers pointed out that the weapons looked like they were made of wood, and soon conspiracy theorists started sharing the clip, claiming it was proof the war was a hoax. But again, their claims were disproven when it was revealed that the footage was recorded months earlier during a training course that was attended by civilian volunteers. These men and women decided to join the military in case of a Russian invasion, and were being trained how to properly handle a large firearm. Number 4. A quick internet search for famous people who have gone missing will see one name come up repeatedly: the former Prime Minister of Australia, Harold Holt. Holt's disappearance has never been solved, and conspiracy theorists have had a field day ever since, insisting that something untoward caused him to vanish. On the 17th of December, 1967, Holt drove to Cheviot Beach in Victoria, Australia in his Pontiac. He was known to have a love for swimming and spearfishing, to the point where he would hold his breath while attending Parliament, so that he could dive deeper during his snorkeling trips. He'd been to Cheviot Beach many times before and knew the area very well. He was planning on finally relaxing on the beach since he'd attended his last cabinet meeting of the year, and was looking forward to spending Christmas with his friends and family. Holt's neighbor, Marjorie Gillespie, and her daughter and two of Holt's friends, Martin Simpson and Alan Stewart, accompanied Holt to the beach that day, and they could never have expected what happened next. He'd entered the water for a swim despite the conditions being rough. In what Marjorie described as a mere moment, he was engulfed by the waves, and for a few moments they could see his head emerge, but then it disappeared beneath the waves, and the Prime Minister never resurfaced. What followed was one of the largest search operations in the country's history. Rescue crews, helicopters, and volunteers scoured the beach and waves in hopes that they could find him, but their efforts were in vain. This particular beach was known for its strong undercurrents, and at least 2 people had disappeared there in the past, never to be seen again. Stewart, who'd also been swimming when Holt went under, recounted that he could feel the currents pulling at him, and he knew that the conditions were dangerous, but was unable to convince his friend. The sea was so violent that one rescue boat overturned, and it was estimated that the beach was being pounded by waves as high as 8 feet. On the 5th of January, 1968, the search was officially called off, and Holt was never found. His disappearance was truly a tragedy, and many people found it hard to believe that such a prominent person could go out for a swim only to lose their lives thanks to a simple misjudgment. This has led to many conspiracy theories being suggested over the decades, including one that claims Holt was a spy. This theory first came to light thanks to a book authored by Anthony Gray, which is entitled "The Prime Minister Was a Spy." He suggested that Holt was secretly working for the Chinese government, and that his disappearance was actually a carefully orchestrated ruse in which he was picked up by a Chinese submarine before being taken to Beijing, where he lived out the rest of his life in peace. But the water at Cheviot Beach would have been far too shallow to allow for a submarine to pass by unnoticed, and these claims weren't taken seriously by many. All these theories remain mere speculation, but they persist online and are unlikely to go away anytime soon. Number 3. Without a doubt, the most prominent conspiracy theories to be found on the internet today have to do with extraterrestrials that are said to visit our planet on a regular basis. The online world is littered with footage of flying objects that are rumored to be alien spacecraft, strange lights in the sky, and strange-looking beings that, according to conspiracy websites, could only hail from another planet. Some aliens are said to be friendly and want nothing more than to teach humans about the myriad of worlds that lie beyond our reach, but others are rumored to be aggressive and dangerous, with an agenda to wipe out all life on Earth. Many people claim that an extraterrestrial race called the Anunnaki has been visiting Earth for centuries, and that they control many of the events that take place around the world. Others believe that they created humans for a single purpose: to mine as much gold as possible. The Anunnaki are considered by conspiracy theorists to be ancient astronauts who were seen by ancient Egyptians, the Maya, and other long-gone civilizations who helped shape human society into what it is today. Others believe that merely uttering the word Anunnaki might result in being abducted, or at the very least, a string of bad luck befalling them. It's been suggested that they live on a planet called Nibiru, and that they set out to find sources of gold after the climate on that planet started to change. The theory holds that the Anunnaki believed the answer to their problem lay in gold particles that could be suspended into their atmosphere to reflect the sun's rays. It's been suggested that they first tried to mine gold from the Mediterranean Sea with technology aboard their ships, but they soon found they were not collecting enough to fulfill their needs. These miners, called the Igigi, decided to lay down their tools, claiming that the work was too hard and a solution had to be found. The decision was then made to combine Anunnaki DNA and DNA from Homo erectus to create humans who would be used as slaves in gold mines around the world. Some theories suggest that the Great Pyramid of Giza is actually a structure that was used by the Anunnaki to create gold from scratch, and that one claim of alien visitation in Peru is proof of their existence. The Coricancha Temple, which was built by the Incas, is said to contain a symbol of a golden disc, which, according to some people, serves as proof that these ancient people were visited by a gold-plated extraterrestrial craft, and that they were then taught how to extract gold from the ground beneath their feet. It's also been suggested that the Barberton Greenstone Belt in South Africa was one of the Anunnaki's most prominent mining sites, since some of the gold mines that have been found there are centuries old. Some people believe that they're older than the human race, and hence feel that the mines were created by these alien creatures in a bid to save their own planet. Some theories go as far as to suggest the fabled city of Atlantis was created by these visitors, and that it was only lost after their mining operations were complete. Number 2. Since we landed the first humans on the moon in 1969, our knowledge of our solar system has broadened exponentially thanks to advancements in technology and a better understanding of the stars, planets, and other objects surrounding our planet. Modern telescopes can now see much further than any before, and we're now aware of some very strange objects in space, such as black holes, space dust, and in some cases, seemingly empty sections of space that defy all logic. But despite all of this advancement, some conspiracy theorists have claimed that space doesn't actually exist, as outlandish as that may seem. Some claim that we're being lied to by our respective governments, and that we're either living in a computer simulation or that we've been sucked into a black hole with no means of escape. These theories claim that if the latter theory is true, our reality would be two-dimensional, and hence there would be no such thing as a third dimension, which would mean that the concept of space couldn't possibly exist. Instead, we're living in a 3D simulation that creates the illusion of space, and we've been left none the wiser, at least until conspiracy theorists realized what was actually going on. But even among these theorists, there is some disagreement. One side believes that we aren't actually living on a planet. They suggest that we eke out of our existence on a flat plane made up of land and some water. To create the illusion that we're on Earth, a light show is projected into the sky above this planet, leaving us with the illusion that space exists, and the millions of stars, planets, suns, and moons can be found in the trillions of galaxies that we've observed over the years. But that would, of course, mean that these galaxies also don't exist. And since we have no hope of traveling these vast distances to another galaxy, there's no way of disproving this, according to those who subscribe to this theory. On the other hand, some theorists believe that Earth is a disc-shaped landmass that's enclosed around its edges by a wall of ice that has never been reached by any explorers. They also suggest that the entire planet is enclosed in a dome-shaped glass cover that ensures we can never leave or explore anything that lies beyond. With these theories come a slew of others. Since space is said to be artificial, it would be impossible to send a craft to explore the universe, and hence the moon landing never took place. It would also mean that climate change never existed, and it was thought up by the governments of the world to divert attention away from space exploration, as people start to focus more on preserving the Earth, rather than wondering what lies beyond our reach. The theory holds that meteor showers and impacts, solar and lunar eclipses, black holes, comets, and sun flares are all the work of fiction. Number 1. More than 400 years after his passing, William Shakespeare is still considered to be one of the greatest writers history has ever seen. His plays are still performed in some of the most famous theaters around the world today, and his works continue to inspire people from all walks of life. But his works aren't without controversy. Many historians believe that Shakespeare's works were actually written by someone else, and that he merely signed his name to these plays in order to become a famous writer. Others have suggested that the plays were written by someone using the pseudonym Shakespeare, since their work could not have been taken seriously otherwise. One theory holds that the famous bard was none other than the 17th Earl of Oxford, Edward de Vere. It's known that Vere was a writer during the 16th century, and that he did most of his writing in secret. He refused to have any of his work published under his own name, possibly because it would have been seen as unbecoming of a gentleman of his standing to become a knowledgeable writer. In one speech presented by Gabriel Harvey in 1578, he stated that Vere's countenance shakes spears, which is considered by many to be a tongue-in-cheek reference to the fact that he was writing under the name Shakespeare. But most historians believe he was merely paying tribute to the Earl, and that he was suggesting that his enemies were afraid of him. It's no secret that Vere enjoyed reading poetry, and that he was a patron of the arts during his lifetime. He often visited theaters and commissioned several books, while also having others translated. Furthermore, he's also known to have sponsored one men's and one boys' troupe of actors, and even leased the Blackfriars Theatre to the boys' troupe during the 1580s. But the evidence in support of this theory doesn't end there. It's known that while he was in his 20s, Vere often visited the studio of the artist Titan, which is situated in Venice. The Shakespeare poem, Venus and Adonis, makes reference to Adonis wearing a bonnet, which can also be seen in one of the Titan's paintings, and this has led many conspiracy theorists to believe the poem was written by Vere under the Shakespeare pseudonym. One of the strongest arguments in favor of this theory comes from the translation of the poem Metamorphosis by the poet Ovid. It's known that the poem served as a great source of inspiration for Shakespeare, but not many people know that it was translated into English by Vere's uncle, Arthur Golding, and that he and Vere were living in the same house while the translation was being completed. In the Shakespeare play Hamlet, we're introduced to a character named Polonius. At one point, he mentions a group of men who have a falling out while playing tennis, which is seen by some as further proof that Vere was, in fact, Shakespeare. In 1579, Vere was embroiled in a bitter rivalry with Sir Philip Sidney. They both had fallen in love with the same woman. They had opposing views on politics and had very different literary tastes, which often resulted in arguments. On one occasion, Sidney was playing tennis with a few of his friends when Vere asked if he could join them. When Sidney refused to acknowledge him, Vere called him a puppy, and many believe that he then recounted this incident while he was authoring Hamlet. It's also been suggested that Sidney was parodied in the plays Twelfth Night, Merry Wives, and Henry V as a result of the quarrel. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.